Hello everyone. How are you all? Having fun? We usually say that GST one nation one tax. But were all the taxes integrated into the GST? Meaning in the old regime all the indirect taxes, did GST replaced all of them? That's not how it is. Even today many taxes from the old regime still exist, right? So let's understand which are those taxes that are not subsumed under GST. Today's class is about this. The taxes which are not subsumed under GST. So see, those state taxes which still exists even today, it's not subsumed state excise duty. State excise duty is levied on what? Only on alcohol. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. On this state excise duty is levied. And this still exists today. GST hasn't come on alcohol. Alcohol still has the old state excise duty applied on it. VAT and CST are applied on manufacturing and on sale. Stamp duty. This didn't merge, but I have told that there are very high chances that this stamp duty will merge into GST in some time. Motor vehicle tax. What is motor vehicle tax? You pay road tax, you also pay toll tax. What is road tax? Whenever you buy a new vehicle, car, two-wheeler, whatever you're buying, so you pay road tax, right? Why are you paying road tax? Because if you buy a car, you will be using it on road, right? So you are going to use the road. So you pay the road tax then. And when you travel on highways, you often encounter toll plazas where you have to pay toll taxes. So all these indirect taxes exists even today. Electricity duty. On the electricity bill, you will see electricity duty is written. That is also there. What taxes are there in the central taxes? That is, which taxes of the central government are still there even today after GST. Basic customs duty BCD is still in effect, right? Safeguard duty is still there. Research and development cess to export duty is also there. Anti-dumping duty. These all are related to import and export. All taxes see basic customs duty. This is called BCD. Safeguard duty. What is safeguard duty? We impose a safeguard duty on foreign goods to protect our industry. See, you don't need to know what all these taxes are. Okay, these are import taxes. Basic custom duty is basic duty of custom of import. In addition to that, what is safeguard duty? When our government feels that there is a particular item which is being imported to India at such a low or cheap rate that the industries related to that which is in our country will be closed almost. For example, let's say a calculator is coming from abroad. Okay, and it's coming so cheap that the government thinks that all of the India's calculator companies will all shut down. So what does the government do? The calculator coming from abroad. On that, the basic customs duty IGST will be levied on it. Imposing a safeguard duty means that this duty is imposed to protect our own industry. 25%, 40% safeguard duty will be imposed so that good becomes more expensive in India. Right? So what will happen is that it won't sell much. Our industry will be safeguarded by this. This is safeguard duty. Research and development cess. Research and development cess is levied on import of technology. If we import technology, research and development cess is levied. Export duty. The way taxes are levied on imports, I told you that no taxes are levied on exports. Because every government promotes exports. They say if you export, foreign currency will come into our country, so no taxes on exports. But there are some items, a few items on which taxes are levied even on exports. I will tell you, write down those items. Otherwise, you will say that there are no taxes on exports. Keep this in mind. There are no taxes on exports. But there are taxes on few items of export. On leather. On hides. On skin. If you are exporting skin, which means leather, you are selling animal skin. Okay? So then, you will have to pay taxes on that. What are hides? Animal skin. Now, like some of the animals, they have thin skin. So basically, it's called skin. Thin skin is skin. Thick skin means hide. Okay, so it's the same thing. Skin and hide are same. Like we don't say a lion's skin, we don't say the lion has skin. Lions are known to have a thick skin and that thick skin is known as hide. Okay? So we call it as hide. So if you export skin or if you export hides or if you export leather, Now, if you process this skin and the hides, what is it called? Leather. Okay? So, after processing, the item is leather. On all these, export duty is levied. Anti-dumping duty. What is anti-dumping duty? Let's say there is some goods which has been dumped in India in large quantities by a foreign company. So we feel that like Indian industry will now not be able to sell its own goods. Okay, like there's some company from China. They dumped a lot of goods into India, some particular item. Now Indian companies are saying this good is being sold in every street and neighborhood. This has been dumped so much in India. What's the use? To enter this sector. And if there is an entered player in the sector, they are saying we are out. It's useless. So, on such items, the government imposes an anti-dumping duty. For example, if that good becomes expensive, then brother, imports will decrease of that good. So, brother, our domestic industry, they won't think about exiting it. They will maintain it. Right? That is, anti-dumping duty also applies to imports. All the duty was on imports, and there was one export duty which I mentioned. All of this is still there today. Import-export taxes are also there. See, because of GST, there are many taxes that have been abolished. Right, but there are some taxes that still exist. Some taxes have been eliminated by 99%. But still some taxes exist like excise duty. It's over in terms of saying, but it's not. Because even today some items have excise duty levied on them like 5 petroleum products. Right, VAT is levied on some items even today. So, 5 petroleum products have VAT levied on them. So, in Constitution, there is 7 schedule which has 3 lists, union list, state list, concurrent list. Were there any changes in these 3 lists? Absolutely, the union list have those matters on which the central government makes decisions and collects revenue. State list contains those matters on which state government makes the decision and state government collects revenue likewise, right? So when lot of revenue sources have been exhausted, those names must have been removed from the list, right? Right? So let's look at what changes have been made in the Constitution because of the implementation of GST, especially in those 3 lists. Right? So let me tell you. In 7th schedule of Constitution, first list is union list. In this union list, there are total 97 entries. Entry number 1, entry number 2, 3. And these 97 entries, what does that mean? It means 97 different matters on which the central government takes decisions. Okay? From this, there's one entry number 84 which is called Central Excise Duty. Previously, central excise duty was levied on every manufacturing, on all goods for manufacturing. But is it still there? No, central excise duty is gone and GST came in its place. But it's not completely over by 100%. Earlier here it was written in entry number 84, central excise duty, manufacture of all goods. Now it's not written manufacture of all goods. See what is written. Duties of excise on the following goods. This now became following goods. Okay, what is following goods? 5 products of petroleum. So crude petrol, diesel, petrol, natural gas, ATF, and tobacco product. Okay? Tobacco is that product on which government has not abolished central excise duty, but GST is applicable on this. GST is applicable. Listen carefully first. You have already made a chart on which GST is not applicable, the one with no GST, don't forget it. And if you don't remember, go back and see the no GST chart. There's no tobacco. If you have any problems, I'll show you. No GST. On alcoholic liquor for human consumption. It's not on immovable property, money, securities, 5 products of petroleum. Is tobacco also not subject to GST? No, I haven't said that. Is GST levied on tobacco? Tobacco is that item on which both old tax and new tax is levied. Old excise duty is still levied. Right? And new GST is also levied. So remember, excise duty is currently on which item? Excise duty currently is on 5 petroleum products. And on tobacco, you will say, sir, it's on alcoholic liquor too. Don't get confused, children. There's no central excise duty on this. Which one is there? State excise duty. Right? Alcohol is subject to all state government's tax. Excise duty is state excise duty. So you should remember that today central excise duty in entry number 84 has been changed. Previously, it was for all goods, but now it's for 5 products of petroleum and tobacco. Right? Okay, after this, let's talk about Entry number 97. We'll talk about this. We'll come to middle entry 92C. Entry number 97. This is residuary. I told you how many entries are there in the union list. 1 to 97. Heading of 97 is residuary. Okay. Residuary means anything that was left over, like small miscellaneous revenue sources. Governments, central governments, all are lumped into this. For your information, another point is that service tax was a very new tax in our country. The rest of the taxes were created around 1960. Income tax was introduced in 1961. Around same time custom duty was introduced. These taxes are very old. Right after our country's independence, all taxes came into existence. But service tax came into existence after 1990. Okay, service tax was brand new and fresh. This service tax was not very old. And when the service tax came into existence, it was applied to 3 services. It was very small revenue of government. The rate of service tax was very low, maybe 5%. It was only on 3 items and government didn't get much revenue from service tax. So government lumped it in residuary. But gradually over the period of time, as our economy developed, people from around the world became service providers in our country. So many services were started. So the government began to levy service tax on almost everything on every service. And government kept increasing rates. The rate was increasing and number of services was also increasing. Number of service providers in the country was increasing, so the collection of service tax started increasing gradually. Now this collection of service tax had become so big that government felt under the residuary it would lose its importance. It's giving large revenue a big tax, brother, there should be a separate entry for this. Income tax has a separate entry. There's a separate entry for custom duty, then why is this being subsumed in residuary? It should have separate entry. There were several entries in residuary. Okay, so the plan was to remove it from there from 97. And for this create a new entry 92C. We'll write service tax there. 92C, it's a new entry. So what happened was, earlier before the GST came, within entry 97, service tax was written there and 92C entry. It was created in constitution, but within that service tax wasn't included. A new entry was created 92C. Right? Service tax was still in 97. Now, preparations were being made to see an auspicious time and delete the service tax from 97 and put it into 92C. This amendment in constitution will be made. Full preparation was going on. And by that time, GST drips. GST implemented. With GST implementation, there's no need for service tax. Service tax is deleted. Now the change that had to be made in constitution was service tax written in entry number 95. There were many taxes including service tax which had to be deleted. And entry 92C which was made for service tax, that entry 92C had to be deleted. Did you understood? Entry number 97. Many taxes were listed in this. One was service tax written in it. So what did we do? We deleted this service tax. We cut this out. Okay. Second, entry number 92. C. This was created and nothing had been filled in yet. Service tax was supposed to be filled in, but now it's a waste as GST is there. So this entry number was just removed. Got it? That's what it's written. Entry number 92C is omitted and cut off. And service tax was deleted from 97. Is it clear, everyone? Moving on. So this was central. What changed in union list? Entry number 82. 84 was changed, 97 was changed, entry number 92C was deleted. In state list, there is VAT under entry number 54. What changed in it? VAT was also the same. It was on all items. Now this was levied on 5 petrol products and alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Okay? 5 petrol products and alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Pay attention. In excise duty, you studied 5 petrol products and tobacco. Why wasn't alcohol studied here? Because state excise duty is levied on alcohol. Okay? Entry number 51 state excise duty in this alcohol is written the same way as it was before. There is no change in this. Okay, in this alcoholic liquor for human consumption, it's still written. Okay? Old excise duty is levied on tobacco. Is the old VAT is being levied? No, it's not. Instead of VAT, GST is being applied. Means. Actually, if you see, excise and VAT have been subsumed under GST, but the government has been clever with tobacco, in a way. Old excise duty is still being levied and also the new GST. This is what government is doing. So you have read about the changes made in the constitution. So now you can tell me what tax is being levied on what item today. So my first question for you is taxes levied on tobacco and tobacco products post GST. After GST implementation, what's being levied on tobacco and tobacco products? Number 1. First, we will say that central excise duty is being levied. Even today, old tax is levied. Is new VAT being levied? No, GST is being levied in its place. On sin goods and luxury goods, there's a GST compensation says these are sin goods. These are bad things. Okay, the tobacco products. What else is being levied on this? GST compensation says. Okay. Okay, what else is being levied on alcoholic liquor for human consumption? After GST, there's no change. What was being levied before is still being levied. One is the state excise duty, and the other is VAT or CST, whatever you may call it. Okay. Taxes levied on petrol, it will be on petrol. So here also N was written, it will be on. Okay. Taxes levied on petrol post GST. So one is on petrol. Excise duty, central excise duty is levied. There's no change here either. What was levied before is same, VAT or CST. Why do we say VAT CST? When a sale takes place, see where sale is happening within state or outside state. Within state VAT, outside state CST. Okay. Tax levied on lubricants post GST. For lubricants, did I tell you any new story? No, just like GST is levied on everything, it will be levied on this. I didn't say anything for lubricants. Okay, one more point in this, and this is something to understand and pay attention to at a petrol pump. When you go to a petrol pump, they sell petrol, diesel and lubricants. Do they sell lubricants or not? They do. Lubricant is an item that has GST. Petrol and diesel does not have GST. You know, these were outside the purview of GST. But because of lubricant, they're under the GST regime. They charge GST on lubricant to the government, and the rest of the people who sell petrol, diesel on that, they are paying whatever taxes that are due under the old regime. Okay? So I hope this was enough for today's class. We will end today's class here. In next class, I will discuss an interesting topic with you. We'll stop here.